want to, I put this on my letterhead just because it's got my phone number, my email, all that kind of wonderful stuff, the law firm's website on there. If you want to look at any of that, you certainly may. Do we have extras of these floating?
Oh, I do.
Probably. Okay. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I've been practicing 25 years. I can remember that because it's 25 years. Next year I won't know. Last year I didn't know. I knew it was a long time. I am board certified in family law, which encompasses just about everything. We do a little bit of everything. So you're wondering then, why am I speaking to anybody about communications law? Because about 25% of my clients are business clients, people that just have problems come over and over and over and over, and I deal with whatever comes through the door there, and occasionally it's a libel or slander issue, and I also happen to be involved in a libel and slander suit. If you want to go Google that, the plaintiff or the appellant was Hafiz, Abdel Hafiz. He sued ABC and Fox. You can read all about it in 2 opinions that probably span over 100 pages, if you really get in the mood to do that. Catherine told me that y'all are talking a lot about libel and slander. So I'm going to give you my take on libel and slander. There's an old movie out there, it's not old, it doesn't seem old to me, but y'all may not have seen it, called Heaven's Gate. It's considered one of the worst movies ever made, but it's really not that bad. It did have the, I guess the tag that goes with it is it wrecked the studio. It just destroyed United Artists. They went bankrupt because it did so badly. And it's not a bad movie, but it's a Western movie, and it's sort of traditional Western movie about off in Montana. You've seen the whole thing before. And these people are Eastern European immigrants that go out there, have problems with the land people, and start shooting back and forth. You know, the rich ranchers are shooting the poor Eastern Europeans. And at the end of the movie, the Eastern Europeans finally have all these bad guys where they want them. There's a big gun battle going on, and the cavalry comes in. Cavalry rescues the rich landowners and whisks them off to safety, and everybody else just is standing there wondering what just happened. That's what a libel and slander suit is. If you're going to sue somebody for libel and slander, you're probably going to sue somebody that has money. The only people that have money in a libel and slander context are big companies, news outlets, that sort of thing. In fact, those groups are among the biggest businesses in the world, certainly in the United States. And they got the First Amendment to protect them. So, when you go out to sue Fox or ABC, you have to realize that you're suing 2 of the biggest entities in the United States, and the law is stacked on their side. So, the short answer is, don't sue for libel and slander. It's a waste of your time and effort and money. Excuse me. The longer answer might be, think about it real hard before you do it. Because it's a tough burden. You've got to show actual malice, and the way they get around it, start watching, ABC's a little more iffy. Start watching Fox, because they'll do this a lot. Watch a Fox broadcast and listen to how much attribution there is. We're not telling you so-and-so did this, but it's been reported that your senator had sex with a dog in public last week. and the senator's like, would be, well, even not a senator, senator's got a different standard altogether, but going, I didn't do that, you just accused me of that. No, Fox would say, We did not accuse you of that. We merely reported what we learned from somebody else. If you want to do that, go out and sue, you know, the head of some little website who's got no money, who gets shown on various television stations over and over because he's made it his goal in life to destroy you. You know, that's really the real world of libel and slander. So before you're going to do it, think about it. There's a saying, do not fight with people who buy ink by the barrel. Like newspapers. You can lump in television stations, but that's a little newer than the saying. Don't sue the newspaper. You're never going to get ahead getting a fight with the newspaper. This is what they do. They got some of the best, well, some of the most reputedly best attorneys in the world in their pocket, on their payroll, because they do this all the time. You know, so libel and slander law is really interesting. But as a practical matter, don't do it. I mean, just don't do it, or think about it very hard before you do. Assess your damages. How have you been damaged by what has happened? A lot of times, the damage is unliquidated, non-liquidated damages. Damages that are not easy to put a dollar figure to. Wounded pride, damage to my reputation. You've hurt my reputation in the community. What is that worth? If you're a lawyer, it's probably not worth very much, but some of you may think, you know, well, I've got a really high value on my reputation within the community. Well, how are we going to put a dollar to that? The classic example is you can get nominal damages. You can get $1, $10, some sort of nominal amount for you're wrong when you can't put a dollar amount to it. So I guess you've been vindicated, and if that's what you want, that's great. But think about how have you been damaged, and how can you prove how you have been damaged by somebody's libelous or slanderous statements about you. Now, maybe you can show that once they put these false things on their website, my sales dropped. You know, I can make a direct correlation between a drop in sales, which resulted in a drop in profits and all this sort of thing, and my business is such that if I lose those sales on a particular day, they're not coming back the next day. I'm not going to recoup them at some other time in the future. So maybe you can. But again, think about, okay, you know, take a deep breath, get over the fact that somebody said something bad about you, and think, how am I really damaged? Monetarily, how am I damaged? And how am I going to prove that? You know, I have to remind my divorce clients sometimes, your word is proof. You're going in and testifying something happened is proof. You don't have to have a document to wait around. Because a lot of times people want, well, I don't have a document that shows that. Well, you don't need it. You can say, I did this, or I saw this, or I said this, or he said this. But it sure helps to have a document. It helps to have your accountant. It helps to have somebody who can show the judge or the jury that this is what, you know, has gone on. One more thing to mention about libel and slander is be aware that the standards in the United States are probably the toughest standards on a plaintiff in the world. Other countries, Britain is sort of notorious for being on kind of the other end of this. It is a lot easier to sue for libel and slander in Britain. If you work for a big company, you may not have to worry about this so much. If you're going to go to work for yourself, you may have to think about this. My understanding of British law, granted it's small, is that they are not a country that concerns themselves with the primary source. In Texas, for example, if you're a news outlet and you're just repeating something that came over the AP wire, I can't sue the Star Telegram for reprinting an AP story that had a libelous or slanderous statement in there. I have to go to sue the original source. My understanding is that in the United Kingdom that is not the law. They also have a standard of, would the statement lower you in the estimation of right-thinking men? Or I guess, you know, they probably added right-thinking women to that too. But the point is, what does that mean? Lower you in the estimation of right-thinking men. There have been all sorts of big United States companies that have gotten into a lot of trouble over this phrase and what they've said, and they can, in Britain, unlike the United States, they can take your communication off the market.